And another trade has happened. Darius Garland for James Harden. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this on the Clippers side first because that's the side I like more with this trade. The Clippers get Darius Garland and a second round pick, so nothing too crazy pick wise for James Harden. But Darius Garland is still a young, very good player. He was an All Star, I believe, last year. I don't obviously this year he has dealt with some injuries, and I just don't fully get the Cavs side fully here, but let's talk about the Clippers. So the Clippers, in my opinion, are winning this trade. They get Darius Garland, a young asset, which is kind of what they need. They are one of the oldest teams in the league. They do not have their own draft picks. I mean, if they are bad this year, they do not get their own draft picks. So if this is a chance that maybe Darius Garland makes them a little bit better, that could help. Overall, though, I don't know how much it really changes the season. I mean, pretty much just swap players that are not necessarily wildly better. Just basically got younger, which is huge for the Clippers, who don't have much youth and don't have much draft capital to build on that youth. So getting somebody like Darius Garland to be a young center point for the team for years to come is a very good move on their part in this trade. So I'm quite happy with the Clippers getting rid of James Harden and bringing in a young guy, because Harden was not part of your future. He was probably not going to be on the team by the end of this year or in the offseason, no matter what. So you could have got draft capital for him, but if you suck this year, OKC has your pick. So you're in the West. You really don't want OKC to compete very well. So you kind of want to stay alive within that play-in, possibly even win through the play-in, so that you don't end up with a top 5 pick. And for a large chunk of the season, James Harden was saving the NBA from them getting that top 5 pick. Right now, they're around 500, so they might be able to get into that play-in, so that it's a little bit harder to get that first overall pick. Still possible if they don't make the actual playoffs, but you get in the play-in, anything can happen. I think personally, I think this is a for the Clippers, because there's no losing in this situation. You bring in a young talent, you get a pick, you give up a guy who's getting old. Yeah, he's played well for you this year, but James Harden plays in a certain way that just doesn't work well for winning, in my opinion. And I'll get into that when I talk about the Cavs a little bit, because that's the side I feel a lot more personal about. But I think this is a very good trade for the Clippers, and I give it an A. Now, on the Cavs side of this situation, and I do not like this trade for the Cavs in the slightest. Now, I do know Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell didn't necessarily always mesh well together. Made sense. You were probably going to want to move Mitchell off. But there is other options, I feel like, that would have been better to move Mitchell for, or not Mitchell, Garland for, other than James Harden. You're getting an old guy who's probably going to make it even worse for Donovan Mitchell, because now you got two guys who want the ball in their hands all the time, and it just isn't going to work. James Harden hasn't worked with any other superstar he's played with. I mean, the best one was probably when he was with Embiid, and even that, it was all a complaining mess because he played a certain way to get paid, and then we didn't pay him, and then he was mad and all that stuff. So he didn't play that way because he wanted to play that way for Embiid. He wants to score. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to be the number one option. Well, that's not going to be the case when you go to Cleveland. When you're in Cleveland, he might be the third option behind Evan Mobley on top of that. So this trade to me just makes no sense. Why the Cavs thought moving Darius Garland for James Harden makes no sense. I mean, you didn't give up much outside of Garland, but I feel like you could have got more for Garland than a James Harden. Like, I understand you're still trying to compete. You might have wanted to still get a player of high caliber, but you could have went out and got somebody of possibly high caliber, or in some picks. Like, I mean, you could have went out there and possibly got like Desmond Bain in this offseason if you didn't think the Garland and Mitchell thing was going to stick. And I do know Garland's been hurt off and on this year and part of his other parts of his career, but Darius Garland is still a phenomenal player, and you probably should have got first round picks for him. And instead, you gave up a second round pick to send him off to for James Harden. I just don't understand. It makes no sense to me. I feel like it's a dumb trade. I'm not sure what Cleveland is thinking. I know it is a push to try to win it this year. The East is very weak. No team is guaranteed to be good. It feels like a lot of the trades happening in the East are bad trades, in my opinion. Outside of Vucevic going to Boston, I feel like that could help out a lot. They do need a center place, but outside of that trade, most trades aren't helping too many of these Eastern Conference teams. And I just feel like, yeah, you might want to make that push. But I don't know if James Harden's the push, because He's proved it time and time again. He's the reason why teams lose in the playoffs. I mean, nobody could play with him in Houston. He went to Brooklyn, was always hurt, and then play well with them. Then he ends up in Philly, works out, but doesn't play well in the playoffs. And then there's a little tantrum, ends up with the Clippers. Still doesn't work. He puts up his numbers. He looks good. He is doing what James Harden wants to do, is put up numbers. And it isn't working. I'm giving this an F grade. I hate this for Cleveland. But let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this trade. I'll see you guys in the next video.